guys, Dr.Pitanger there, and today I'll be analyzing the second run that was submitted on my Discord. So this is a run from Dr. Robin on Discord, or Tribing on YouTube. It is a run in IS2, difficulty 10, and since the video is only 23 minutes long, I assume this run is not complete. So we're gonna see what he did well and what he did not. This is a run that starts with a Magallan, so we're gonna see what this is all about. Lithuanian Scepter is probably one of the least impactful one, as long as you don't lose any HP. Tactical Fortification, alright, so he wants that E2 Magallan. Kettle. Magallan without module. Huh, interesting. The module from Magallan is usually pretty impactful, I would say. Popka and not Midnight, huh. I would have probably gone with Midnight here, simply because Magallan can deal enough damage in the early stages, and with this team you're definitely gonna want damage, and Popka usually deals less damage than Midnight, because Midnight is able to attack from far away, he's able to attack two enemies at the same time, but in range, and also attack a real unit, so yeah, Popka is kind of weird, not gonna lie. There's nothing much to say there, like, this is Magallan E2 on the very first floor, so obviously he's gonna destroy the floor. An argument could have been to pick Magallan S1 just in case there was like an animal enemy, right? Because maybe she would have had more chances to kill an animal enemy with S1. And even this, I'm not sure, because, well, S1, okay, sure slows the duck a lot, but at the same time, he has basically no damage, right? Popka and so literally deals no damage, and only Magallan would have been able to attack, so there's really not a lot of damage there. That's the main issue already. Like, Magallan is not that bad in IS, but it's an operator that I will pick at the very late stage in IS, simply because, well, the S1 can have some utility, right? She's able to basically root an enemy from the distance, and she's like the only character that has guaranteed roots at E1 from basically global range, right? So it's an interesting character, but absolutely not as a starting unit. Defender, absolutely not what he wants right now. Here he wants damage, so obviously the better options would be something like Underflow. Underflow would be actually pretty good. Blitzcam also works, I guess. Blitz also works. Fire Whistle also works too. Like, Fire Whistle is actually pretty good. Okay, alright. No second ending. Emergency, nice. Messed up the order, unfortunately. Let's watch this again. So he deploys Fire Whistle first, which is probably a bad idea, because as you can see, he had basically enough mana to deploy Magallan and Popka, so what he should have done instead is deploy Magallan, then Popka, and whenever he has enough DP, he should have retreated Popka and deploy Fire Whistle. In this case, it's alright, because Fire Whistle managed to kill all the spiders there and there, so yeah, it's okay. He shouldn't lose that much HP, if he loses any. Okay, so in this stage, again, you need to pay attention to the aggro a lot. I told the same thing back in the days with Clay. It's very, very difficult to deploy a defender or any tanky units and then deploy range units. It can be done if you deploy, for example, like a perfumer, so an AoE healer, but it's very not much recommended. 5 points, sure. Supporter, so again, I still think he wants damage, so something like Shamare could work. Vara Queen could work if it was in IS4 and IS2, I really don't think it could work. Seen as redundant because he already has a summoner, so this is absolutely not what he wants right now. Maybe Proviso. Proviso is a, like, pseudo caster of some sort, but, like, there's nothing really much interesting there, so it's either Shamare or Orchid, I would say. Oh, wow. Shinju. Alright, Shinju is an Abjurer, so I really don't think you need an Abjurer as long as you already have like a Defender and a Medic. No, in my opinion, you should have gone with either damage or Save the Hope. Like, you don't need more healing right now. You definitely don't need that. What you're lacking is damage. Like, it's fine on floor 1 and maybe on floor 2, but starting from floor 3, if this is the only damage you have, this is not gonna be pretty. Alright, let's see this shop. Like, see, this is why he should have saved some hope at some point, because here he would have been able to buy a caster voucher, and what is there too? There's Arts Weaving and Malediction. Both are extremely great collectibles, so if he had gone for even the weakest caster, it still would have been pretty good with Malediction and Arts Weaving. So yeah, a bit unfortunate. What he should have done is, well, save the hope, buy a caster that can become a pretty good 5-star caster, something like maybe Lazy or some sort, or simply maybe a Mia. A Mia could have worked absolutely with Malediction and Arts Weaving. Absolutely. So this would have cost 28, yeah, and he would still have like 6. So maybe he could have even like gotten some original ingot and buy the macarons, for example. Yeah, this was absolutely the play, unfortunately. Here, I mean, I still think the play is this, but instead he's gonna have to settle with Steward. I still think the play is absolutely picking Malediction, Arts Weaving, and then transitioning to like a caster run, because when you see Malediction and Arts Weaving, you can absolutely make it so your run revolves entirely around this. These are extremely good collectibles and you get them both at the same time, so yeah, absolutely do that. Particularly since the other collectibles are not good too. Like Victory Horn with the current team he has is basically useless. Landmine set is okay, but at the same time it's not that great right now, and particularly since he can buy the caster voucher, the Malediction, the Arts Weaving, and the Landmine set if he only gets 2 Original Ingot from the balance. So yeah. Passenger. Huh. Yeah, absolutely. Then Malediction, Arts Weaving, absolutely. You absolutely want Malediction, Arts Weaving in this case. Like, it's not even a question. Yep. Alright. Perfect. Alright. Actually, very good shop. Now, the only thing he wants is to E2 the Passenger and recruit more and more casters, right? So if he wants to E2 Passenger and recruit more casters, he's gonna want to look for safe houses and more fights. Both maps are doable, and since there's only the choice of an encounter afterwards, whatever the path he takes, it would make sense to simply pick the easiest one. Like, the bottom one is okay, it's the one with the shield guards, and it's not that bad, particularly with a fire whistle. The thing is, it's maybe a bit reliant on a Vanguard, but at this point it shouldn't matter that much. He can take both fights, it doesn't matter. Alright, he takes the one with the shield guards. See, the main issue is his team is very expensive. Like, fire whistle costs 25, Passenger costs 31, Magallan technically costs 11, but then you also need to deploy the summons, and overall it adds up to a pretty steep price. Still, yeah, deploying Fire Whistle here is not an issue because there's no range enemies, so the order doesn't matter that much. So yeah, definitely Fire Whistle first. Since she's deployed there, she isn't gonna attack a Shield Guard because Shield Guards have an increased aggro, right? So if he deploys her here, it doesn't matter that much. She's gonna attack the Reunion members and then also the Doggos when they come in a range there. And yeah, in the meantime, he can simply save and deploy Passenger whenever he's ready. I honestly wouldn't have deployed Magellan. As you can see, she has done literally nothing. She has like done maybe 100 damage to the shield guards. I would have simply saved to deploy Passenger there. Like, you have Arts Weaving, Malediction, your main damage dealer is Passenger. If we exclude Fire Whistle, that is E2. You definitely want to deploy Passenger as your second operator. If you can, obviously. Again, he doesn't have any Vanguard, but in this case, he could. Again, let's just watch it. But Magellan has done literally nothing there. Like, okay, attack this. Sure. Fire Whistle could kill all the enemies by yourself. It doesn't matter that much. See the damage Passenger deals with basic attacks. These are basic attacks. The damage with this one is even crazier, like 3,000 on floor 2 with an E1 Passenger. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. This just goes to show how strong Malediction and Arts Weaving is. Alright. Ooh, this is insane. Absolutely insane. E2 Passenger, insane. Alright. Alright, this fight in emergency can look a bit daunting, but frankly, it's not that complicated. All you have to do is deploy Passenger here, facing the left lane, because the crocodiles don't have a lot of resistance. They have like 10 resistance or so. So as long as you deploy Passenger there, or there, facing bottom, for example, it's either there facing left or there facing bottom, you shouldn't have any issue with the crocodiles. If you're afraid that the crocodiles are gonna reach your DPS, you simply deploy Magellan with S1. S2 Magellan could work, because let's assume he uses S2 Magellan to kill the crocodiles. What he's gonna want to do is deploy Magellan, for example, there, and deploy a drone here. But the issue is he's gonna also want to deploy Fire Whistle, which is already quite a lot of DP. And if you want to deploy your units here, that's fine, but you also want them to generate DP. Here, in this case, if you simply wait for the enemies to come here, you're already gaining some DP. From the time they come here, you're gonna gain like a 5 or 6 or even more DP, which could be relevant in this case, because he doesn't have any Vanguard yet. So I'm not sure about this strategy. I wouldn't have done this at all, but let's see. Okay. Expected. Yep, that was kind of expected, unfortunately. Okay, now he deploys Passenger, but it's a bit too late. Yep, so let's review this. So again, I wouldn't have done that at all. What I would have done since the beginning, let's count the DP. Okay, so I counted the DP. So far, he has generated 58 DP. So instead of deploying Fire Whistle, Magellan, drones, and the Abjurer, I would have simply deployed Fire Whistle and Passenger. And with Passenger, I would have also gone with S1 instead of S3 for a simple reason. You are on a stage where you need a lot of DP and to deploy your damage dealer very, very early on. So S3 is gonna be too late for this. It's one of the only cases where I would actually use S1. You simply deploy Fire Whistle there, you deploy Passenger there facing left, and honestly he's gonna destroy the whole stage. Even if the crocodile reaches Fire Whistle in the case I envisioned, and he eventually destroys Fire Whistle, it doesn't matter that much, because the only thing you have to do then is to deploy Magellan and use S1 in order to slow the crocodile a bit. In my opinion, I would have done that. Maybe 1 or 2 crocs would have gone through. Maybe Passenger didn't have enough damage, I'm not sure, but in my opinion he definitely did. Like with S1, this would have done the trick, I think. So yeah, here I would have probably used Magellan with S1 instead, and Passenger with S1 as well. Alright, let's hope he's getting more caster vouchers. That's unfortunate. But the Vanguard is very good though. Whatever the Vanguard he's getting is probably Fang, it's pretty good. Alright. Initial SP, very, very good, because your Fang already generates DP when she's deployed, so that's good. And your Passenger is also gonna get a lot of SP on deployment, which is also very good. Reduce SP recovery and SP cost, but increase starting SP. Okay, sure. Does he want the emergency? I would still take the emergency there. To hope. Okay. That's good, because again, he wants more casters. In this stage, basically any skill work. It's either S1 or S3, I would say. S1 probably one-shots the spiders, so they can come in his range. S3 also works if he wants to simply burst Big Bob. I'm not sure why he's not deploying Fang. Again, he has 8 initial SP. You absolutely want to deploy Fang first. He would have deployed her here, and she would have instantly refunded the cost. You definitely want to deploy Fang first. Why Ansel? Ansel here is pretty weird, because as you can see, Fire Whistle has lost basically no HP. Why are you deploying Ansel? That's pretty weird, not gonna lie. Alright, here you can see the arc from Passenger is slowly killing the spiders, which is really good. I just realized he's using S3 Magellan in this stage, which is probably not a great idea. There's only like 3 range deployable ties in this map, so S1 or S2 would have been much better there. In my opinion, S2 would have been pretty good. S2 can be pretty good in order to kill Big Bob, for example. So yeah, S3 probably not the best idea. I understand S3 Magellan gives her more attack, but at the same time, compare the damage from S3 Magellan without any drone to S1 Passenger. Just compare it. This is the damage, alright? This little tick of damage was the damage. Now, let's compare it to Passenger's S1. Yeah. Again, doesn't matter that much. As you can see, he was able to destroy the entire stage. But still, this is a good thing to remember just for future cases where maybe his Passenger or any other damage dealer wouldn't have as much damage as right now. So yeah, S3 in this map, really not sure. Between Vanguard and Supporter, like, Shamari still work, right? Shamari still work, Passenger. Another Vanguard like Vanilla would allow him to have a lot of DP. Again, his team is very DP dependent. Fire Whistle, Magellan with her summons, Passenger, that's a lot. That's a very expensive team. So Vanilla is not bad at all. In this case, I would actually pick Vanilla and save for a future caster. I don't think Shamari is gonna do that much. I wouldn't have picked Ines. I don't think Ines in this case is gonna do a lot. Vanilla would have had as much utility in my opinion, and she would have cost 6 less hope. The Passenger plus Malediction plus Arts Weaving combo made him go from I need damage to I absolutely don't need damage, and what I need is to enable this damage. Like, he has Passenger, but he's always deploying him very late. You could see that in the previous stage where he lost 6 HP. Why? Because he wasn't able to deploy Passenger early enough. So this is, I assume, the map where he loses, because there's only like 3 minutes left. Which is a bit weird, because I don't think this is a map where he should struggle. Since you don't really want consistent damage in this map, you generally want burst damage because there's a lot of stacked enemies, I would say S3 Passenger is probably better in this map. S2 also works, I guess. Magellan, in my opinion, since you have Passenger as your main damage dealer, you would pretty much always want S1 Magellan. I don't even know why you still want to use S3 and S2. You could see in the previous map that you literally did nothing. In my opinion, S1 is better in this map. Enemies spawn and are not on deployable melee ties, so your drones are basically gonna do nothing. So yeah, I probably want S1 there. Okay, he's removing Ansel. That's bold, but alright. Okay, let's see how he dies. Again, should have deployed Fang first. Okay, sniping the enemies. I still have no idea why he doesn't want to deploy Passenger. I think he vastly underestimates Passenger with Malediction and Arts Weaving. Again, this is probably why he should have kept the Ansel, because if he had deployed, for example, Passenger there, Ansel here, and then obviously the Fang and the Fire Whistle here to draw the aggro, this would have been such a smooth stage. Also, the Ines is literally doing nothing there. This is a bit chaotic, not gonna lie. Yeah. Alright, and the video ends abruptly here. So obviously the main mistake here is underestimating Passenger. You went all the way to buy Arts Weaving and Malediction, and then you're not deploying Passenger. Obviously you should deploy Fang first. You would have been able to activate her skill at least twice, and then you basically revolve your whole team around Passenger. You use Magellan S1 in order to slow enemies so they can stay in Passenger's range and Passenger can kill them safely. You use your Abjurer to heal Passenger. You also use Ansel to heal Passenger. You use Fire Whistle to draw the aggro, this kind of stuff. You also use IS to root enemies and so on. But you absolutely want to deploy Passenger. Your whole run now strictly revolves around Passenger. So if you don't deploy Passenger, you basically lose 90% of everything you've done so far. So this was the first mistake. The second mistake is tied to this. It's not using, in my opinion, Magellan properly. Again, you're using Passenger as a damage dealer. This is the main damage dealer of your team. You're gonna want to use Magellan as well, a supporter. That's what she is. She's a supporter. So in this case, you're gonna want to use S1. As you can see, the S3 basically did nothing. Yeah, you killed some enemies at the top with S3 Magellan, but that's nothing that 2 auto attacks of a Passenger couldn't have done. Like 2 auto attacks of a Passenger with Malediction and Arts Weaving would have done the same thing. And if it wasn't enough, then you have S3. So yeah, third mistake is you have initial DP and you don't want to deploy Fang first. You obviously want to do that. Again, this is literally basic things that the game teaches you. Deploy Vanguards first. Yes, you lose some DP at the beginning, but it's not really an issue. Like Fang skill costs like 25 DP or something. So by the time the enemies reach you, you have the time to use a skill twice. There were also some mistakes in positioning here and there, like for example in this map where he deployed Fire Whistle a bit too early compared to the other operators. Here where he should have deployed Passenger instead. And obviously in this last map where he, for example, forgot to redeploy Ines and she basically was a sitting duck for like 30 seconds. Even though Ines is an agent, so you absolutely want to redeploy her as fast as possible when she's not doing anything. Yeah, there was some issues in positioning. The choices in the shop were good. The choices in the pathing were good. But failing to see the global vision of Passenger is now my main damage dealer is what cost you the run, basically. So anyway, guys, this was it for this analysis. Feel free to hop on my Discord if you want your run analyzed. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.